Finally, hi, I'm back. Sorry for the delay. There was some technical stuff going on, but I'm back. Sarah Armstrong here. Sara says, Cousin Sara Productions. Sorry about that, but technology's great until it's not great anymore. But here I am, a few minutes late, but I'm here. Thanks all of you for your very kind words. While I was recuperating, not 100%, but here I be. Okay. While I was kind of incapacitated, there's not a whole lot to do. So I was kind of propped up in my bed watching television. And there's the usual daytime stuff that goes on. But fortunately for me, the Winter Olympics were on. And during the Winter Olympics, it's fascinating to watch some of these events. For instance, the luge. The luge is, you lie down on what looks like this big pizza pan, and you kind of lie on your back, and you have on a helmet, and you're holding on, and there's some gears that you work with your feet, and you're hurtling down this ice track at 90 miles an hour. What could go wrong? Yes? And then there's the opposite of the luge, which is the skeleton. And that's kind of this big cookie sheet looking thing with handles on it. And this time you lie down face first, so your head is going down, much safer, of course, than the luge. 90 miles an hour. They're flying down this ice track. But I think I've spent more time, believe it or not, watching curling, which is this really kind of unusual competition where you have these 44-pound granite stones and you slide it along the ice. And the idea is at the other end, there's a bullseye. And you do your best to get your stone closer to the center of the bullseye, which is called the button, than the other team does. And there's all this strategy about blocking and knocking and hitting and doing and whatever to get it going and to make the competition a little more interesting. The thing that really struck me, though, as I watched all this was the dedication of these athletes and the fact that they had spent so much time, so much money. Their families had supported them. Their countries had supported them to get them going in this, to get them ready for it. Parents who went to all of these ski meets and all the hockey games, and their absolute dedication to their craft. They have other jobs. They're accountants and doctors and nurses and stay-at-home moms and entrepreneurs, but they took time away to do this thing because it meant so much to them. And they do it at a very high level. I mean, there is no cheating. Anybody who infraction of the rules, you're out. And in curling, there really isn't a referee. The only time they have someone come out is if they're two stones and they're very close to the same distance from the bullseye, and they have a machine that comes out and measures it. But if there's any other kind of dispute about a stone being moved or whatever, it's the participants who come to an agreement. So many wonderful stories I heard, but the best one that I want to share with you has to do with this man. You remember him? He was the flag bearer in the Summer Olympics from the island nation of Tonga. Now, he's in jiu-jitsu. That's what he does, taekwondo. And he wore that outfit, pride in his country, but he was so enthused about the Olympics that he wanted to come back again in the winter. And let me tell you his name because it's important, and let me say it right. Pita Tahu. Pita Tahu. But he's on an island nation in the Pacific, the Winter Olympics. So he decided he was going to be a cross-country skier. And he started out with inline skates and ski poles, and he fell down a lot. And he got skis going over grass, which didn't help. And it wasn't until 3 months before the Olympics started that he actually got to put his skis on snow and ice. But he qualified. And there were 119 participants in this cross-country ski. And Pita finished the race. And he finished number 114. But you would have thought he just won a gold medal. He came across the line. He carried his flag. His coaches were there with him, celebrating that he had done this, that he had accomplished it. And then something very extraordinary happened. He turned around and he waited for the very last person to come across. The person in 119th position, and it was a gentleman from Mexico. And they embraced, and the gold medal winner of the event came back, and they lifted up the Mexican on their shoulders and carried him around, draped in their flags, celebrating the fact that they had finished the race. That's what was so wonderful to me. That it wasn't about winning and losing. It was about finishing the race, being dedicated and getting through it and having the determination to do something that people had said couldn't be done. And I watched them and I said, this is winning with humility and not arrogance. This is losing with dignity and not despair or bitterness. What great examples these athletes are to us. What wonderful message they send to the world. I thank you for being here. I'm glad to be back. We'll be back next Wednesday. We will not have these technical difficulties. Thank you so much. Like us, share us, subscribe to us on Facebook. Subscribe to us on YouTube. That's where we need subscribers. And remember, Sara says, these Olympic athletes show us how much good there is in the world. They show us how much good there is in us. They remind us of our great goodness and humanity. And I cannot think of a better time for us to be reminded. Peace, and see you next week.